Safety Kyle Duggar has been ruled out for the third straight game, and I'm honestly starting to get a little bit worried about when we're going to see the veteran safety and the captain finally return to the field, because you also have to pair that with Jabril Peppers, may or may not ever be playing another game in a Patriots uniform. So we're going to break down a little bit here on Kyle Duggar's injury news on Patriots Today by Chat Sports. But on the back half of the show, the Patriots finally made a move. It just came a few days after the NFL trade deadline. So ultimately on Kyle Duggar, he's been dealing with this ankle injury, right? We noticed that he got it about 3 weeks ago, and then since then he's been very limited in practice, if not at all, and he hasn't come back to the practice field or media availability in quite some time. So it's starting to wonder here that he's not showing any signs of getting better. He has been placed on IR, so maybe it can't be that bad if he has been placed in the injured reserve list, but in the same sense, if he's not moving at all, working out with the team, practicing, joining them for media availability, playing on Sundays, then what does this mean for Kyle Duggar and the safety moving forward? Well, here's what Sarah Marshall had to say, not that Sarah Marshall. As of now, we don't have a timetable for when that might be. He returned to practice a few weeks ago, but that was short-lived, and the extent of his injury is still unknown. Given that he's already missed 2 games, it seems like it's not something he can quickly recover from, which makes the entire situation even more concerning for the rest of the year. You can't tell me that if he is not practicing, that means it's not getting better. It has to, or else he would be out there on the field. While there is no official report as to whether or not it's getting worse or better, this does put a huge dent into the secondary, which obviously right now is just leaning on cornerback Christian Gonzalez, and now you've got backups playing the safety position because both of your captains, both of your safeties are out. That does leave you with Jalen Hawkins and Marte Mapu. And I'm going to give flowers to Mapu here. This kid is tough. He has left the last 2 weeks. He's left in the middle of the game, questionable to return with head and neck injuries, and he's still come back. He's still played. And he does a pretty good lockdown job. Same with Jalen Hawkins. This kid is so close to getting his first interception of the season. So while we don't have Duggar, while we don't have Peppers, obviously Mapu and Hawkins aren't as good as them, but it does fill the void for quite some time. But when is it time to start to panic? Is it when Kyle Duggar officially gets announced on the IR? Or will he officially come back? Because we already know that Robert Kraft and Elliot Wolf came out and said, look, if what happens turns out to be true about Jabril Peppers, he will never wear a New England Patriot uniform again. They said, we don't deal with that. We do not mess with any player that has those allegations off the field, if it turns out to be true. So we may have seen the last of Jabril Peppers in a Patriots uniform if he goes to court and he is found guilty. Well, that's the rest of his career in New England. So now we've got that hovering over our head. On top of that, Kyle Duggar, who has been in and out of the injury list all season long, which has been another shot. And then when you look at a guy like Kyle Duggar, yes, it's the safety position, right? It is a very honed-in position towards the end of the backfield. But the way that Kyle Duggar plays, he's become one of the best pass rushers and run defenders that we have on this team. I feel like I see Kyle Duggar constantly flying in from the backfield to help a missed tackle, to help a player not have that yards after carry. And even though he's played 3 games less than majority of the defenders out there, he's still in the top 10 of total tackles this season when it comes to the Patriots with 35. And remember how I said he's one of the better pass rushers and better run defenders? His PFF grades are up there with some of the better guys in the NFL. But let me just be quite frank, we don't have the best pass rushers or run defenders on this team, which we're going to talk about in the back half of the show. But Kyle Duggar does make up for a lot of that. He's been in double-digit tackles for multiple games this season when he is fully healthy. So while the defense has been lacking the last couple of weeks in both of these areas, you also have to look that Kyle Duggar is a huge part of that. So the last 3 weeks, when they're allowing rushing yards to be over 180, passing yards to be over 270, well, there's a good reason for that. We just hope that when he does come back, he can quickly return and be as good as he once was. And if you guys want Kyle Duggar to be back as soon as possible, because I'm going to be honest, I really do think our defense could be back in the top 10 if everybody was healthy. I'm talking Christian Barmore, Jawan Bentley, Kyle Duggar. We've just been hit with so many injuries this year. It's kind of hard to tell where our defense is at. So if you guys want the captain back, like the video. And I'm going to break down the newest addition to the Patriots roster in just a moment. Let me tell you guys real quick about our sponsor here on Patriots Today, and that's Prize Picks. If you guys are looking to test your skills and win some money while you're doing it, then Prize Picks is the app for you. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America with over 10 million active users playing right now. And if you guys want to go on ahead and get started, it's super easy to do so. All you have to do is pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Not to mention, this is crossover season, so there's several different sporting events going on at all times. That way you can test your skills constantly. Tonight, I am focusing on hoops. I've got Peyton Pritchard to have more than 15 points. He's been a real asset for the Boston Celtics coming off the bench. And of course, I will take Steph Curry's Goblin pick, which is an easier pick, just the payout isn't as much. If you see the red version of him, well, then that's going to be a demon pick, which means it's a harder pick, but it does pay a lot more. Steph Curry, more than 25.5 points. So these are my prize picks. If you guys want to go on ahead and make yours, it's super easy to do so. All you have to do is download the Prize Picks app, use promo code CLNS. This will get you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app, use promo code CLNS. This will get you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. The Patriots have signed a defensive end, picked him up off the waiver wire after the NFL trade deadline, and I was a little bit frustrated they didn't do anything by the trade deadline, whether that was trading somebody away for draft picks or maybe just helping Drake Maye out a little bit. And I know this isn't on the offensive side of the ball, but this does help the defense. Doug Key talking about the Patriots claim defensive end Yannick Ngakoue off waivers from the Ravens per source. They inherited his $656,000 remaining salary for this year playing for the Baltimore Ravens. When you look at a guy like Yannick, he's played for several different organizations throughout his time in the NFL. More recently, in the last 5 years, he's kind of been a one-year deal kind of player. But so far, I mean, the 1.5 sacks is what I'm looking at. We have struggled when it comes to sacking the quarterback. Pressure, we can blitz all day long. But when it comes to actually taking the QB down, I am all for it if a guy can come in and know how to tackle this quarterback. Plus, the past 4 seasons, his sacking has kind of been his specialty. Obviously, the tackles do come with that territory, but pass breakups, not really his thing. So when you look at a guy from the sack category that we've been lacking since we lost Matthew Judon and Christian Barmore, I think this is a huge pickup for a guy just to come in, whether they decide to start him right immediately or take him off the bench. Because when you look at a guy like Yannick, he's played this is his 10th season in the NFL. And I know that we are a rebuilding team, and I know we only have a few players over the age of 30, but veterans, they do matter, especially when you look at the rest of your pass rushers that have been kind of lacking this season. Keon White, he started his first 2 games with 4 sacks. Since then, nothing. It's been extremely hard to watch him have this downfall, but you have to remember, this is his 2nd year. O'Shane Mathis, his 2nd year, we just recently signed him. Jotham Russell, you got Keyshawn Banks. All of these guys in here are just young. So when you had that extra expertise, like a Matthew Judon and Christian Barmore could have provided for the Patriots last season, well, that's where I think his best skill set comes into play. You can now start to move Daniel Ekuale around a little bit. Even Dietrich Wise Jr., who had a phenomenal last 2 weeks going up against the Jets and then the Titans. So when you put somebody like Yannick in there, you're going to help out Keon White because Keon White has gotten close to getting sacks the last couple of games. The pressures have been there. So maybe if you have pressure coming from both sides, because, Daniel Ekuale, he is a good player, but the sack is where he really starts to lack. Rhyming unintentionally there. Overall, I like this move. I'll honestly like pretty much any move the Patriots do make from here on out because I do think you can help out Drake Maye even if you make an adjustment on defense because that allows that unit to get off the field even quicker and get Drake Maye back out there. I feel so bad for the defense. Game in, game out. They're out there constantly, which means the Patriots offense needs some help as well. So overall, I do like this move, and I want to let you know I want you guys to let me know how you feel about it as well. Type A, B, C, D, or F. Grade this trade. And if you guys want the Patriots to make anything else, go on ahead and comment that down below. As always, be sure to follow me on Twitter and subscribe to this channel. Anything that happens with the Patriots, you're going to find it right here.